I am in Chattanooga, Tennessee at Point Park. This is the site of the Battle of Lookout Mountain, and it's part of Chattanooga and Chickamauga National Military Park. So this is going to be really cool. Let's go check this out. Before we go into Point Park, there's a National Park Visitor Center right next to the Battles for Chattanooga electric map and museum. This is James Walker's giant painting of the Battle of Lookout Mountain. General Hooker commissioned this painting to be fully accurate in terms of the setting and troop positions. This depicts where mostly fighting took place farther down towards the base of Lookout Mountain around the Craven's house, and the monolithic Lookout Mountain can be seen in the background. It was completed in 1864, it's 13 by 30 feet and weighs 700 pounds. That's an artillery shell, a base sabot ring of a Confederate shell, and a Hotchkiss fuse body that were all recovered from the battle. The gate of Point Park is a very impressive work of masonry. It was constructed in 1904, modeled after the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers insignia. This area around the summit of Lookout Mountain was developed after 1880 when better roads were built to the top, along with the nearby incline railway which I visited. This 10-acre park was preserved and completed in 1905 to commemorate the battle, and is part of the first national military park in the country, along with the Chickamauga battlefield. While almost all of the fighting occurred on the northern slope of the mountain, this was the strategic high ground that was the cause of it all, and it was successfully secured by the Union soldiers who had to siege from over 1,000 feet below. This has to be one of the most breathtaking battlefields in terms of the views. This is one of the Confederate battery positions that weren't all that effective. Because of the thick fog that day, they couldn't really see where they were aiming, and also they had to point the barrels at such a downward slope that the cannonballs would just roll right out. While the artillery didn't really work in their favor, the cannons up here look more cool than anything. General Grant provided orders to make an attack on the Confederate position here, but not a full-on assault. General Joseph Hooker, who was in charge of the attack, decided to do a full-on assault of Lookout Mountain anyways on November 24th of 1863. Most of the fierce fighting took place farther down the slope at Craven's house, which was being used as the Confederate headquarters. The house that the family rebuilt after the battle is preserved as a museum, and there are many monuments down there, but it's unfortunately closed today. After Craven's house was taken, Union troops began to further climb up the mountain to try and attack this position. Despite the serious fog that clouded the visibility of both Union and Confederate troops, no up-close fighting ever occurred up here on Point Park. Not one Union soldier actually made it up here during the battle. Despite this, Hooker had many troops coming up from the other side, which threatened the potential retreat line of the Confederates up on the mountain. That evening, the Confederates used the window to extract from Lookout Mountain and join the rest of Bragg's army on Missionary Ridge. That night during the retreat, there was a total lunar eclipse. During the battle, 89 Union soldiers were killed, 471 were wounded, and 111 were captured or missing. The Confederates, despite their high position, ended up with more significant losses. 187 were killed and over 1,000 were captured or counted missing. The largest monument here at Point Park is the New York Peace Memorial, which was dedicated in 1910. It was paid for by the state of New York to honor the soldiers of both sides who fought and died during the Battle of Lookout Mountain. The monument is 85 feet tall, and the bronze statue at the top of the marble shaft is titled Reconciliation. This is the listing of the New York troops that were involved in the battles of Chickamauga and Chattanooga. I'm now walking the short trail to Lookout Point. I've now walked out onto the northernmost promontory of Lookout Mountain. Again, the views over Chattanooga, Tennessee are incredible. That is the Moccasin Bend of the Tennessee River where Union troops were positioned when they began the assault on the Craven's House and Lookout Mountain. That is Missionary Ridge, where most of Bragg's Confederate Army was stationed and where Stevenson's troops retreated to that evening. The final moves to rid the Confederates from Chattanooga took place at Missionary Ridge on November 25th, which was a major victory for the Union. Here at Lookout Point is the Oaks Memorial Museum, which doesn't have much. Here's an exhibit on Civil War signaling, which was widely used across Lookout Valley during the campaign. There's some hardtack, the rock-solid maggot-infested crackers that soldiers had to eat. At the base of the overlook is an unusual rock formation, which was present during the battle and was used for observation. Here's another battery position facing northwest. So that was the site of the Battle Above the Clouds. Really beautiful scenery and great Civil War history. I'd highly recommend to stop here. Please check out my other videos and thanks for watching.